doing, everybody, and welcome to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. It is a fantastic Thursday here in the great state of Wisconsin. Weather, well, the weather's there. A lot of snow going on around. Yesterday, the roads were just miserable. I mean, it was windy as all get out here in central Wisconsin. If you were heading east to west, you were screwed. That's all I got to say. East to west was not there. North to south, you were fine. But if you had to go east to west, the roads were just nasty, drifting all over the place. But that didn't stop a lot of action yesterday in Wisconsin sports. We got lots to get into today. Lots of new stuff. Well, not lots of new stuff. Just one new thing I wanted to get into today. But other than that, I got just a couple things we want to get into today and see where the day leads us. So right away, I want to look at the Brewers. Brewers coming off this series with the Twins, a tie with the Twins here in that series, split it 1-1 there. And just looking at this, I want to look at both games as a whole and then just kind of go over the games, see what we saw and see what we liked and didn't like coming out of that series there. So Brewers take game one of the series, 3-2 there. Brewers in that one, 7 hits, out-hit the Twins, 7-3 in that game, 1 error by the Brewers in there, and early runs, right? They scored that 1 run there in the second and 2 runs in the third, and that was it. All the Brewers needed. They were able to hold off the Twins. Twins got runs in the 4th and the 7th, but the Brewers were able to hang on in that one, win that one, 3-2. Looking at the Brewers lineup in that game, Frelick started, and he led off. Another offer for Frelick to start the day there. Looking down the line there, we had Yelich. He had a 1-for-4 a day there with 1 RBI and a run scored. He had 1 strikeout on the game there. Contreras had 2 walks on the day. And then looking down the line, Adames with a hit. Hoskins 1-for-3 with 2 runs scored there. Oliver Dunn, this guy just continues to mash. This guy can hit the baseball. He was robbed of a hit late. So, he could have been 2-for-3 on the day, ended up 1-for-3. A great play by Santana over there at first. That took away another hit from Dunn. Trage, it continues to stay hot. 2-for-3 in that ball game there. A couple more stolen bases by Trage. I believe this guy is up to 6. I believe he's at now 6. Yeah, after that one there, he was at 6 stolen bases. He had 2 in that game there against the Twins. Churio batted in that 9 spot. He was 1-for-4 on the day there with an RBI. So Brewers get the job done in that one. Looking at the pitching for the Brewers, Jacob Junis did start. 4 innings for Junis in that one. He had 1 run on 3 hits, 1 of them earned, and he had 1 walk, 4 strikeouts in that outing. Not a long outing out of Junis, but a solid outing out of Junis, right? Would you have loved to see him go a little bit more? Probably in that one, but solid outing all the way around. Junis, he had 47 pitches in that game, 34 of them for strikes. So not a bad day out of Junis, probably working him into maybe extending him a little bit. Looking out on the line there for the Brewers, Elvis Peguero did get the win. He's sitting at 2-0 on the year for the Brewers. 2 innings, 1 run, none of them earned there, and then 1 walk on 3 strikeouts. So a solid day out of Elvis Peguero. Hoby Milner then came in for an inning. He had a walk and a strikeout. Payams came in for an inning, nothing across the board. And Uribe got the save for the Brewers in that one. 1 inning, 1 walk, and that was it for Uribe. So a solid day for the Brewers. For the Twins, not a whole lot happening. A little bit of hits here and there, 3 hits in total, like I said earlier. And then pitching-wise, Varland gave up 3 runs for the Twins in that one in 4 innings. Outside of that, the pitching was pretty good for the Twins in that one. Looking at game 2 of the series, this is where the Brewers ran into a little bit of trouble, and it was late in this one. Brewers got off to the lead, 3-1 lead there, heading into that top of the 7th inning, and that's when the Twins exploded for 5 runs and then added a run in the top of the 9th that really separated them. 11 hits for the Twins in that one, 7 for the Brewers. Looking at the box, good day out of Jackson Churio. Saw his first major league home run. That was great stuff there out of Churio. Contreras and Yelich both had a hit in that one. Hoskins with a hit. Frelick, a good day out of Sal Frelick there. Moved him down in the lineup, and he had a 2-for-3 day there for Frelick. Outside of that, Ortiz had a hit for the Brewers, and that was about it for notables there. Trage did have a sac fly in that game there, 0-for-2 with 1 RBI on the day. Joe Ross, solid day. We were talking about the 4 or 5 in the Brewers rotation, what we were going to get out of them and if it was going to be anything good. And I mean, out of these two, Junis and Ross, solid days. Solid days, not a whole lot of innings picked up, but in those short little outings there, they did solid. Joe Ross, 3 2/3 innings pitched, 2 hits, 5 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Colby Milner, 2/3 of an inning there, 2 hits, and 1 earned run. Butkus came in then for an inning and 2/3, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout. Payams, Payams had a rough day. Rough day out of Yoel Payams, a third of an inning, 4 hits, 4 runs on 4 of them earned. Bryce Wilson, an inning and 2/3, 2 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, and 1 home run given up there. And then Vieira came in for an inning. He had 1 hit, 1 run, and 1 of them earned, and 1 walk on the day there. So Brewers get a little roughed up there. The bullpen, the back end of the bullpen there with Payams that's your biggest worry, right? Payams getting a little beat up there by this Twins team. It's going to happen. I mean, you're going to have outings like that. It doesn't matter who your closer is, whatever it is, they're going to struggle at times. Payams isn't really the closer of this team, but even your setup guy, he's going to struggle at times. He's going to get up runs. It's just a matter if it becomes a trend, right? So far, I mean, we look back-to-back days for Payams. Yesterday, or 2 days ago, solid day out of Payams. Yesterday, a little bit of a struggle. So we'll see once. I mean, is it going to be a trend for Payams, or will we see him start to flourish there a little bit in that bullpen? That's just a wait-and-see kind of thing coming up here. So the Brewers get a series tie. I mean, a 1-1 series tie here with the Twins, and that will lead them up into their off day, which is today here, before they start a 3-game set with the Seattle Mariners, who are coming to Milwaukee for that series. Freddie Peralta will get the start in Game 1. He will see Gilbert for the Mariners. We'll get more into that game tomorrow here on the show as we get into the weekend there and talk about a little bit of what to expect from this series here. Brewers and Mariners coming up from American Family Field there. But with that, I mean, just going over this Brewers team a little bit here. And I saw somebody coming out. I can't remember where I saw the comments, a couple of different comments out there. And they were talking about Sal Frelick. And somebody stated in there that Frelick, I mean, he's off to a rough start, right? Yeah, we've all seen it. He's off to a rough start. And they said that they believe that Sal Frelick is going to be in AAA pretty soon at this rate. That's pretty quick thinking. I mean, that's pretty quick thinking there. I mean, this season just started here. We're 5 games in now. Sal is, I mean, I think he got his average up a little bit there in this last game against the Twins with that 2-for outing there. Just looking at it, he was 188 heading in after today. Or after yesterday there. So, I mean, you don't want to jump to conclusions with a guy like that. I mean, we've seen Sal Frelick last year he started out hot. He kind of cooled off a little bit towards the end. Now we're kind of getting that to start the year here, but settling into the lineup, right? And maybe moving him down in the order is going to be the key, right? Pat had been putting him in that leadoff spot. Maybe that isn't the spot for Sal Frelick. Maybe the pressure of the leadoff spot isn't where he's going to flourish right now. Maybe it's towards the bottom. Now Pat moves him. I mean, he was leading off there for a while. Pat moves him down in the lineup, 2-for-3 day. I mean, so you look at it in both ways there and you say, okay, maybe he's more comfortable near the bottom, batting after guys in that kind of situation versus the leadoff spot. That could very well be. And if that's the case, that's fine. That's perfectly okay. We can find somebody to lead off. I mean, you got Jackson Churro. That guy can lead off for you. Bryce Terang, I mean, right? If Bryce Terang keeps hitting like he is, watching him yesterday there, I mean, he had a 12-pitch at-bat. Yeah, it ended in a called third strike, but he had a 12-pitch at-bat. I mean, Bryce Terang, the rate he's going right now, maybe he's a guy who could sit at the top of the order. We know Yelich can bat in that leadoff spot for you. So you have a lot of guys who could potentially work their way up to a top of the order spot for a little bit here and there, whatever you want to say. I mean, I'm not too worried if Sal Frelick can't be my leadoff guy. That wasn't, I mean, if you think about it, if Garrett Mitchell was ready to go opening day, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now because I believe Garrett Mitchell would have been in a leadoff spot because that seems like a perfect spot for him. That's a spot where he was thriving in And I don't know if Sal's just not comfortable in the leadoff spot. You see guys like that where it just depends on the spot in the order, right? Yelich is a prime guy for that. Everybody wants to go about where he struggled down in that third, fourth area in the lineup there, but you moved him up to the leadoff spot and everything seemed to go a lot better. So, I mean, maybe Sal's that same way. We keep him down here. I believe he was in the sixth spot there for the Brewers. Maybe you keep him in that 6 hole. Maybe you move him up to 5 at the max, and he excels right there, and that's where you want to leave him. So I'm not jumping on this gun here to say Sal Frelick needs to get sent down pretty darn soon if he doesn't hit, because who are you going to bring up? Are you going to bring up Joey Wiemer? Like, that's your guy, right? Joey Wiemer's the next viable candidate for the outfield. Are you going to bring Joey Wiemer up? No way. That you're not going to bring him up yet, at least, because we haven't seen much out of Joey Wiemer yet at the AAA level. Nobody trusted him to get on the opening day roster. Now you want to jump on him to move up for Sal? No way. Not a chance. I mean, you're talking about 5th game of the season right now, and we're already jumping on the bus of sending a guy down to the minors. I thought that was a ridiculous comment right there. So not a fan of that comment. I get it. You want to jump the gun. You want to, that kind of thing there. And I've jumped the gun before. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've jumped the gun. But I am not worried about Sal yet. I mean, Sal, he's going to work his way out. The guy's a contact hitter. He's a put the ball in play kind of guy. If he sticks with that, just like the rest of this Brewers lineup, if they stick with that, the hits will start to come. I mean, the ball's going to start to fall. Everything will work its way out. So not worried about Sal Frelick in that aspect right now. But before I move on here with the Brewer talk, I just wanted to get to a couple of our sponsors here. First, Game Day Supply in on Alaska. Do you have a sports club or team? Are you looking for some sweet custom uniforms or apparel? Check out the awesome crew at Game Day Supply in on Alaska to help your team get the sweetest gear. Find them on Facebook at Game Day Supply or online at GameDaySupply.net. Also, Pittsville Farm and Home Center. At the store, they serve you anything from hydraulic hoses to red roses. Stop in and see the awesome crew at Pittsville Farm and Home Center in Pittsville, Wisconsin. And also Marshfield Motor Speedways, located just 3 miles outside of Marshfield on County Road H. You got to get down there this summer. Tons of family fun, summer days, summer nights. You can spend them down there at the racetrack. Check them out there on Facebook or online there. Search Marshfield Motor Speedways. You can find them there and find the schedule. Plan out some great, fantastic summer days and nights down at the track there. But with that, continue with the Brewers here. I want to talk about the play of Dunn. I mean, Dunn so far for the Brewers has been playing fantastic. This guy, he came out of nowhere. I mean, nobody really expected crazy things out of Oliver Dunn. He's one of the Brewers, what a pretty good prospect, right? Coming up through the rankings there. But now you look at this guy, he's got a 250 average on the year, 1 RBI, 12 at-bats there, and solid glove work at third base. You know, you get those, going into years, you always have those guys who just come out of nowhere, right? You're going to have the occasional guy like that. The guy you don't expect, and this is mine right here. I didn't know what to think of Oliver Dunn. When I was making up my projected roster for the Brewers, right? I had Eric Hayes on there. I didn't have Oliver Dunn. And the Brewers surprised a lot of people when they designated Eric Hayes for assignment and they kept Oliver Dunn on the roster. Now, we all got it. We all understood it for the fact of you needed that extra infielder on there. That made complete sense. But it was one of those things where it's like, okay, haven't seen much of this guy. We know from spring there that he's a solid hitter, right? We know he can hit the baseball around. Looking at his spring stats, they're 282 in spring there for the Brewers. I mean, we know this guy can put the ball in play. We just didn't know what to expect. So far, impressed. Saw that play at third, the dive out. I mean, putting the body on the line for that line drive there from Buxton, made that play. Couple other fantastic plays so far. And then you look at him at the plate. This guy is constantly putting the ball in play. That's one of the things that I think I love most about the Brewers this season is their ability to put the ball in play. 5 strikeouts on the year for this guy. Outside of that, I mean, He's putting the ball in play, just like a majority of this Brewers team is putting that ball in play. And that's what you want to see, right? Especially with the speed of the Brewers, is the ability to put the ball in play to make things happen. A lot of teams lack that. Brewers excelling at that so far. So I think from my standpoint, that has been fantastic so far to watch. So love what I've seen out of Oliver Dunn so far. First starts for Jacob Junis and Joe Ross. I didn't know what to expect out of Joe Ross coming into the Brewers here. I mean, we've seen some of his past stats, right, from his days with the Nationals, and it wasn't like it was eye-popping by any means. You look at his stuff there, 2021 was the last time he really pitched with the Nationals there, 4.17 ERA. Before that, in 2019, he had a 5.48, 5.06 ERA in 2018. 2017, 5. 2016 and 15, he had 3 ERAs there. So, I mean, you look at this guy and you say, I don't know if we're getting good, right? I mean, you're getting this guy. He's going to be the bottom of your rotation. He's a project pitcher. Been there, done that guy, but never a dominant, we're going to get you a lot of outs kind of guy. So, seeing him in the rotation was like, ooh, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this. I got to see it. I got to experience it. First outing for Ross, the stuff was working. I mean, 3 strikeouts for him. The 5 walks is a little bit alarming. I don't like a lot of walks there, especially getting yourself into bad situations, right? But he got himself out of those situations. 3 2/3 innings, 2 hits, only 2 hits given up there. No home runs, solid day. It's a solid day. That's what you want. I mean, that's what you're asking for out of your number 5 in your rotation. Now, can he get you 5 innings? That's going to be the big question, right? You look at these guys, even Jacob Junis day before that. Jacob Junis, 4 innings. Joe Ross, 3 2/3. Can these guys get you a little bit more than that? Joe Ross, he had 73 pitches in this game. Junis, a lot less day before, but they didn't work Junis too much. So how does this Brewers team work that then? Are they going to get to the point where we can trust these guys to go 5? Because if you can trust these guys to go 5, that sets yourself up great, because otherwise you're going to start taxing this bullpen, right? I mean, we've seen guys on back-to-back benders now that we shouldn't have to see them out there. I mean, now you're talking Trevor McGill. I did see he is on the concussion protocol right now. I believe he fainted. I don't know what happened there, but Trevor McGill is on the concussion protocol right now. So you have that issue there. So the bullpen gets a little bit thinner. It really makes you nervous that if these guys cannot get extended starts, especially I'm not talking like 7 innings. I'm not talking they have to go 6 innings, right? I mean, that'd be great, fantastic, but can these guys get you 5? That's what I want to know. Because that's going to be the big difference maker, if you ask me, for this Brewers rotation, for even the Brewers bullpen, like I was just saying there, with those guys getting taxed in the bullpen. Can these starters get this thing 5, 6 innings, and then you can bring the bullpen in the 6th or the 7th, and then you don't have to work these guys as much? That's going to be a big thing for me. But outside of that, Junis, Ross, good first starts out of them. Hopefully we see a little bit more moving forward, but other than that, solid opening starts for the both of them there. Bullpen, I mean, I'm not too worried about the bullpen. I think Payamps will figure it out. Payamps has had a couple of bad outings last year, too. A couple of blow-ups, comes back, he's perfectly fine. So I'm thinking Payamps will be fine there. Bryce Wilson struggling a little bit here to start. I believe Wilson will be fine. And Milner, too. Milner's a guy where it's all location, right? He's got to get the confidence with his stuff. I believe Milner will be fine, too. The Brewers just got to survive right now, right? We're just getting started here in the season. You lost your number 1, your closer, in Devin Williams. This is a moment where the Brewers just have to buckle down and everything's going to be okay. They did that early on this year in that Mets series, even opening series again, or this opening game against the Twins here. Second game, different story. The bullpen finally kind of gave up a little bit, right? They started to get beat up there. And I think moving forward here, the Brewers bullpen's fine. You got to watch those things. And maybe that has to do with we've seen these guys a lot now, right? They've been taxed a little bit. I don't know if it shouldn't be this early in the season, right? But I don't know if that's the issue or what the heck happened with Payamps there in the game against the Twins. but he got roughed up there. I mean, you're talking 4 hits, 4 earned runs there, 4 pie-ups. Now, not all of them were when he was out there, right? A couple of those runs came on the Bryce Wilson gave up that home run to Jeffers there. So that was a big contribution to that. But outside of that, bullpen, second game of this series, 5th game of the year. You take it and leave it, right? You're going to have some issues there in the bullpen every once in a while, and the Brewers had theirs in this one. The defense for the Brewers, I think that's been my biggest story throughout these first, 5 games for the Brewers here, is how well this defense plays. Looking at the outfield there, Yelich has made some plays along with Jackson Churro. Frelick's just an anchor in center field. The fantastic plays he makes are fantastic simply because lots of guys can't get to those spots, right? And the plays that he makes that look routine to him would be fantastic plays for other players. He is just, Sal Frelick is a very good outfielder. 100%. This guy gets good reads on the baseball. He's got the speed to get after it. And I don't think he actually cares about his body. If he hurts himself, he hurts himself. I love that about Sal out there, but the outfield defense has been solid. Then you look at the infield. Oliver Dunn out there. Willie Adames making plays. You also have Rhys Hoskins at first base, who, he's scooped out a couple balls so far that have been very impressive. And then you look at Bryce Terang. The plays that he makes, he's another guy just like Sal Frelick, just like I was talking about there. He's another guy who makes he makes the hardest plays look simple. And that is crazy because you watch that play, he had one where he was running across the diamond, got onto the shortstop side of it, charging in, and made the throw to first, and he made it look like it was so easy. And yet, 9 out of 10 people couldn't do it. That's the crazy part, is this guy just makes the hardest things look easy. And that's what I love so much about this Brewers defense, is it's not just Terang. It's guys like Frelick. It's guys like even Churro out there, Willie Adames, Rhys Hoskins making plays over at first base, even when Bowers has been in there. Contreras, that back pick that he had, we're talking about a guy who didn't have any back picks last year. He's already got one this year. With the new base running rules and everything like that, a certain amount of times you can throw over to first, you have the pitch clock, everything like that. That is something that's instrumental to a team, is to have a catcher who can back pick like that. And to see Contreras do that early on here, I thought that was fantastic. He was working on it all spring, from what I heard, and now to see it out on the baseball field, that's great stuff. Great stuff all the way around there by the Brewers. So Brewers, like I said, off today. They're going to be back in action coming up tomorrow here. That'll be a 7-10 start against the Mariners. We'll get more into that game tomorrow here on the show. But right now, before we move on, I want to mention a couple more of the sponsors of the show here quick before we move on. First, your hometown team, Century 21 Gold Key Realty. Call Peggy, Sue, or Anna to find your dream home, or if you're looking to sell. Find them on Facebook at your hometown team, Century 21 Gold Key Realty, or stop in and see them at their location in Marshfield. Also, Sports Scene, sports cards, and memorabilia. Stop in there in the Marshfield Mall and see Al. He has everything you need, from sporting cards to memorabilia to jerseys. Everything you need sporting-wise, model stock cars. He's got it all down there at Sports Scene in Marshfield, located in the Marshfield Mall. And also Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin. If you've been injured lately, whether it was on this ice that we're getting right now, whatever it was, on the court, on the baseball field, and you need some physical therapy, stop in there and see Chad at Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin. He'll get you right. He'll get you back to work, back on the field, back on the court, whatever it is, he'll get you back there. Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin. With that, though, we got to talk about the Bucks. This isn't the conversation I wanted to have about the Bucks, but we got to talk about this Bucks team. So, right now, I'm watching this Bucks team going up against the Grizzlies here, and currently it is 70-67 here in the third quarter. The Bucks, it's taken a heck of a third quarter for them they're up 7 points here in the third to actually take this lead in this one. You're talking about a team in the Grizzlies without Ja Morant. You're talking about a team in the Grizzlies who are down to the bare minimum of guys on their roster. I'm watching this Bucks team right now, and I don't know what to make of it anymore. I mean, you're coming off a loss to the Wizards. Wizards are one of the most, arguably the worst team in the NBA, right? And the Bucks made the Wizards look like they were something. That's my biggest. Okay, so when I look at this Bucks team, and people ask, can this Bucks team make a run, right? Can they make a run to the Eastern Conference Finals? Can they make a run to the finals, right? It's the biggest question. And when I look at this Bucks team, I say to myself, they're too inconsistent, right? It's a roller coaster of a season right now. They get their highs, and then it's back down. Then they get their highs again, then it's back down. You want to see, if you're a Buck fan, if you're a fan of the NBA who wants to see the Bucks excel, right? You're looking at this Bucks team and you're saying at some point this season, I wanted to see the Bucks put together a week or two of just dominant basketball. All the way around dominant basketball. Controlling the glass, controlling this, controlling that. The big three, Middleton, Giannis, Dame, all going at it, each giving everything in each game here, and the Bucks were just rolling teams. I didn't care who it was in that stretch. From the Knicks to the Magic to the Grizzlies to the Wizards, I don't care who it was. What we wanted to see was this Bucks team for a week straight or 2 weeks straight look like the team that we thought we were getting. Right? Because when this season started, I mean, everybody was surprised when this whole thing broke, right? Damian Lillard's coming to the Bucks. Everybody was ecstatic. They were like, "Oh my, what is going on? The Bucks are making a move. This is, I mean, you look at Vegas. Vegas was like, it's Nuggets Bucks. That's what's going to happen. It's Nuggets Bucks now. Nobody's going to stand in between them. The Bucks now with Dame, they have Middleton, they have Giannis, they have Brook Lopez. I mean, nobody's counting Brook Lopez. They were counting the big three for the Bucks, and they were saying, this is the team. You can't stop them. You can't stop them. Offensively, this team is just that much better than everybody else. What happened? I mean, what happened? You look at that, you get the headlines, you get what you get on the court now. That's when I see this Bucks team, it's just like night in and night out, I don't know what I'm going to get, right? One night, I'm going to tell you this. We could play a 7-game series against the Celtics. One night, we are going to just run the Celtics, right? It might be the craziest thing you can think of, but we're just going to run them. The next night, the Celtics are just going to blow us out of the water. The next night after that, they're going to blow us out of the water, and we won't know what happened, right? From game 1 to game 3 now, we're down 2-1 in the series, and we've been blown out twice. What happened? What happened? But then game 4, all of a sudden we come back. We light it up. It's tied 2-2 now. You know what I mean? It's one of those things for the Bucks right now where it's just so inconsistent. One night, they could go on the road. They could play OKC, and they could beat OKC when OKC's healthy, right? Shai Gilgeous out there, and Chet Holmgren, and Diddy, and everybody else on that team. That's a pretty good team in OKC, right? They're young yet, but they're good. That team is good. I'm watching them right now. They're playing the Celtics, and without Shai, so kind of kicking their butt right now, 105-90, now 108-90. I mean, 3-pointer right as I was talking there. But, I mean, you look at a team like OKC, Bucks can go and they can beat a team like OKC, right? Beat a team like the Thunder, 118-93, but then they can lose to a team like the Lakers without LeBron at home, 126-124. And then they can lose a game on the road to the Pelicans. And then they can go on the road to the worst team, one of the worst teams in the NBA, in the Washington Wizards, and lose that game. That's where the problem lies, is how inconsistent this team is. If you play consistently like, say, the Celtics, where this team, I mean, win or lose, you're still getting great performances out of the Celtics. The thing with the Celtics versus the Bucks is you have to beat the Celtics when they're playing their best game. Because I'm going to give them 9 times out of 10, they're going to play pretty darn well. I mean, they have a lot of scorers on that team, so one guy can struggle and somebody else can pick him up, right? Jaylen Brown can have a bad night, but Derek White can pick it up, right? You look at a team like that. You look at a team like the Nuggets, who find ways to win. It doesn't matter. They find ways to win. They can have a cold night, but they're still going to find a way to win other ways. The Bucks can't do that. The Bucks cannot do that simply. Giannis had a triple-double against the Wizards. You would think if Giannis has a triple-double against the Wizards, the Bucks are winning. If you would have told me, if I wasn't sadly watching that game against the Wizards, and you were to have told me Giannis has a triple-double tonight against the Wizards, no score, nothing, just Giannis has a triple-double, I would have immediately assumed the Bucks were winning. Just simple. I would immediately assume the Bucks were winning. That's not the case. The Bucks lost that game. Transition defense for this Bucks team. Defensive lapses. I mean, you look at this game late in that one. A couple of transition buckets for the Bucks where they had 5 guys standing at half court and the ball's already passed them. How does that happen? I am had it up to the roof with Doc Rivers telling me that his guys are in Cabo. Why is that? Why are your guys not mentally? If you're telling me your guys aren't mentally there with, what is there, 5 games left in the year? 6 after the game against the Grizzlies. So you have 6 games left, and you're telling me in the 8th to last game of the year, your team is not mentally there. I get everybody's argument of, they'll be fine. They're just, it doesn't really matter right now. They're just, they're kind of sandbagging it for the playoffs, right? They're not really worried about now. They're built for the playoffs. Okay, that's fine. What my biggest worry is then is when we get into the first round of the playoffs, right? Because Joel Embiid's back for the Sixers. Right now, they're a play-in team. So, with them as a play-in team, you give me the Bucks against the 76ers with a healthy Joel Embiid in round 1, right? Because they win that game, they end up playing the 7th seed. You give me, playing the 2 seed, they beat the 7th seed. You give me a healthy 76ers team, I'm worried. I get it, Joel Embiid's just coming back, but when I saw him play last night there, or 2 nights ago, whatever that was there for the Sixers, his first game back, he didn't look bad. He looked like he was getting there. They have some games left here. He can get right by the playoffs. And the 76ers become a scary team. Now, do I believe the Bucks are not? I believe still the Bucks are the biggest competition to the Celtics. They're a roller coaster of a team, but I still believe they are the number 1 competition to the Celtics. You have Dame, you have Middleton back now, you have Giannis. That's a big 3. That's a hard. You cannot. There isn't a big 3 in the East that is better than either. I mean, you could say Brown, Tatum, and Porzingis for the Celtics. But other than that, I mean, I don't know if that even is. You look at Dame, you look at Giannis, and you look at Chris Middleton. You keep them healthy. That's a solid big 3 then too. So outside of those 2, you can't name a better big 3 in the Eastern Conference. So I still believe the Bucks are the biggest competition, but what worries me is the inconsistent play of the Bucks. Now you get yourself going on the home stretch here towards the playoffs. If you don't get it right, if this team is still mentally not there and we have 8 games left, how are you going to get there? Right? How are you going to get mentally prepared for that playoff game with, let's just say, the Miami Heat? Let's just say the 76ers, right? 2 teams that the Bucks struggle with when they're right. The Heat have the Bucks number. We know that. Spoelstra knows how to beat Milwaukee. I mean, I'm looking at this Bucks team and I'm thinking to myself, okay, what's the problem? What's causing this downfall from a team who was, I mean, if you were a betting man start the year, you took the odds on the Bucks to win in Vegas, right? You took the odds on the Bucks to the title game. I hope you got a refund off of that real fast after you saw the start, because the Bucks are struggling. Now, is it effort? You could say that. Because this transition defense, like I was just talking there for the Bucks, you have 5 guys at half court with the ball ahead of you. That's effort. That's getting back on defense. That's knowing your role and getting back there. Who do you blame? Do you blame Doc? Or do you blame somebody on this team, right? Do you blame the supporting cast around Giannis, right? Do you want to blame Beasley? Do you blame guys like Connaughton? I mean, I don't know. I don't know at this point, because if we know what we know, Giannis runs this team. So is Giannis the leader in that locker room right now? Are guys listening to Giannis? Is he telling them, hey, because Giannis is doing, I mean, I hate to hate on Giannis because this guy, he triple-double against the Wizards there. You can't really say that Giannis was the reason why they lost. But what I'm saying is it comes down to sometimes leadership in the locker room. Are the Bucks getting the right leadership underneath of Giannis? That's my question. What is it going to take for this team to give me the? I mean, I'm watching this Grizzlies game right now. 9:20 to go. Bucks are down 4. Giannis has got 14 points in 23 minutes of play right now. That ain't gonna win you many ball games, because outside of that, Brook Lopez got 20 in there, and Bobby Portis was 17. But outside of that, Bucks are struggling. They're struggling mightily right now with a really bad Grizzlies team. Now, you don't have Middleton. I can say that. You don't have Middleton. You don't have Dame. He's still out. So you're missing 2 pieces there. But this is a bad Grizzlies team. You got to be able to find ways to win games like this. I mean, you got Wizards, even without Dame. You got to find a way to beat the Wizards, right? This is still, I mean, end of the day, you got to have some pieces on the roster that can compete with a team like the Wizards. The Wizards are at the point where, I mean, I love Johnny Davis, but Johnny Davis is up in the NBA right now. Kyle Kuzma's out. I mean, you're talking about a team who's got Jordan Poole, and that's about it. This team's a dumpster fire. And yet they stuck it to the Bucks. When is enough enough? When is enough where these guys say to themselves, we're a little bit better than what we're playing right now, and we got to step it up. We have to do a little bit more. That's my question. When does that happen for Milwaukee? How does that come out of there? How do the Bucks get out of this trouble that they're in right now? The effort problem. Is it going to change? Are the Bucks in trouble? That's my biggest question. Are the Bucks in trouble right now? Because when I'm watching this team right now, I say to myself, they are in trouble. I mean, you look at skill-wise, you wouldn't want to say they're in trouble, right? They have some of the most skill in the East, right? They have some of the better players, right? And you want to say that Doc Rivers is a good coach, but we're not seeing it. And you can give me the excuses of, well, this guy's out and this guy's out, but you played the Wizards, the worst team in the NBA. Now, if you played the Wizards back in November, December, and you lost, okay, that's fine. You're supposed to be fine-tuning your team for the playoffs right now, right? At some point down the stretch in a year, you start to get yourself ready for the playoffs. You know, your games become more meaningful along the way because you're preparing everything for the playoffs, that final stretch run. A loss to the Wizards doesn't look like a prepare for the playoffs. That looks like a downhill spiral. And now, I mean, like I was just talking there, watching this game as I'm talking here, the Bucks and the Grizzlies, 89-87 here with 7 to go. You're playing a team like the Grizzlies right now who are down to the bare minimum of players. I mean, I'm talking Jackson's about the best guy they got. They got Pippen Jr.'s out there. They have Luke Kennard out there. I mean, this team is down to about the bottom of what they can throw at you for roster-wise right now. And you're struggling mightily with that team. I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss for what I'm thinking here with the Bucks. They got to get going. They got to get going here. And I'm worried, but at the same time, I'm optimistic, right? I'm worried about this Bucks team because of the effort problem, but I think that's something that can be fixed. And I think that's something that can be fixed sooner rather than later for the Bucks here. And last time Doc Rivers called out the Bucks, they rattled off a winning streak coming out of the All-Star break. Maybe this calling him out one more time will get him over the hump. I don't know. We're going to find out here over the upcoming days. So with that, that's about all I got for today. I mean, we got into the Bucks, got into the Brewers today. Lots more to get into tomorrow there. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to have my full cast of guys back here on the show. We're going to talk more Bucks. We're going to talk more Brewers. We got lots to get into tomorrow here. So with that, this has been Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you guys back here tomorrow. But until then, deuces.
Yeah, oh my Lord, watch me sway. Darkness falls and we all pray, hoping for the light of day. Down to the river, I have held the devil's hand.